Hi, I'm Willie Vogt, and I'm at the Farm Progress Show at the Farm Progress Virtual Experience today, and I'm showing the latest and greatest in tractor technology. I'm showing you the biggest in tractor technology with the Big Bud. I'm here with Robert and Randy Williams, the Williams brothers, who purchased this machine and are keeping it going. There's a little hydraulic fluid here, but you're still keeping it going, right?
Yes, sir.
Why did you buy this tractor?
We bought strictly to farm with, you know. Back in the day, we farmed and did a lot of summer fallow work out in Montana, so we bought it to work summer fallow and a cheap means of power.
Right.
So that's what drawed us to it.
You're pulling a pretty big piece of equipment in summer fallow with this, right? Yeah. What are you pulling for?
80 foot.
80 foot?
Didn't make any bigger than that. It would pull bigger footage. But
1,100 horsepower, I think it would pull bigger. It would pull. What's it like to drive?
Just smooth and quiet and cool in there, and just like anything that's, you know, 40 years old. Actually, it is actually pretty quiet.
Yeah.
It's pretty smooth. It's big, heavy, you know. So.
Did I hear a story that you guys actually went to the plant where these were made, or what, back when you were a lot younger?
We actually are friends with. We all grew up together.
Okay.
So the guy that built them was a friend, and we all motorcycled, hill climbed, snowmobiled. So he's just part of almost the family there. Okay. And our friends actually did a bunch of engineering work on it.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a pretty tight history. It's right within about 30-40 miles of where we live is where the tractor Big Bud was built.
Right, on a month. Well, yeah, you have the room to turn it around.
And
there.
We watched this being built.
Okay.
Yeah, we were 20 years old, 20-some, in our mid-20s.
That's cool. About tractor geeks a little bit. Tell me about the power in this thing. What's the engine? What's going on? Transmission? What's going on here?
Well, Randy and I, you'd have to understand that we like to have some power, you know.
I got that feeling.
Yeah, and of course the engine, you know, it's 40 years old also, but it's a 16-cylinder Detroit. So what they did is they took two V8 92 Detroits and they put them together. Detroit did, and they rated it when it came out from the factory at around 750 horsepower or so. And then since then, Randy and I have pumped it up, and now it's maxed out at about 1,100 horsepower.
What about the transmission? I mean, we always look about the drive. So you got the power in the front. How do you get the power to the wheels?
Well, it's got a twin disc transmission, which are in the other tractors.
Right.
You know, the planetaries are, you know, about a 7-to-1 versus the 4-to-1s that a normal tractor has. So a lot of the torque gets absorbed in the planetaries. So very, very little trouble transmission-wise. It's got a 6-speed twin disc transmission.
Well, that's a nice transmission. Very durable.
And it's very, you know, expensive to work on, but we haven't had to work on.
You're pretty good power when you're pulling across fallow ground, right?
Yep.
Great. Yep. Well, it's been good to talk to you guys. I'm going to actually strap a GoPro on my head and climb up the ladder. Maybe you can join me in the
cockpit.
Cab, in the cockpit. Is that what we're calling it?
I don't know what you call it. It's a long ways up there.
So we make the climb.
Up you come.
Up we come. How many steps is it?
13 steps 13. To the gallows. Not quite.
This is nice. Oh, yeah, this is pretty interesting.
Okay. The seat's not aired up.
No, it's not an air seat. No, it's good. But ladies and gentlemen, we're inside the cockpit of the Big Bud tractor. This looks familiar. What kind of steering wheel is this?
It's out of a 69 Corvette.
Ah, that was a good year for Corvette.
That was. Good year for steering wheels.
Yes, it was apparently. But it's a good, I mean, everything's at eyesight. Analog gauges, easy to see what's going on. Actually, I'm a little surprised, given the way the cab looks on the outside, the visibility here.
Right.
Because you kept your stacks off, you know, the Harman's kept the stacks off to the side, so I've got a good view. Does the seat swivel? No.
Oh, yeah.
Does it?
Does it? You got to unlock it. Yeah.
Okay, but you can swivel around and lots of good room off the back end, a good view of the hitch. Easy access on this side from the other ladder, which I'm not going to climb. So Robert, when you're driving this, what are you thinking? I mean, this is a lot more room than I thought. When you look on the outside, it looks a little confined. But what
Well, you know, of course, you're trying to accomplish, you know, field work. So you're going to be sitting in this thing for, you know, 12, 14 hours a day. You know, for 1977, you know, that's pretty awesome. You've got your gauges, which is fairly normal in all the big buds. This is pretty much a
standard
set.
yeah.
Yep, standard gauge set. The transmission here,
Okay.
once you get it turned on, you've got your neutral button. So all you do is you just push your neutral button, it shifts it in, and then this is first gear, second gear. You can shift it as you
So
go
it's got
down
push
the
button
field.
automatic, kind
Yeah,
of.
kind of like
Kind of like a Plymouth.
Chrysler. Yeah, I was going to say that. And 6 gears.
Okay.
And then you flip the reverse, and you got 1 gear in reverse.
Okay.
But the biggest thing, like I said, is it's got that torque converter that when you put it in first gear or third gear or sixth gear,
Right.
and you take off, once that RPM reaches a certain speed, that converter locks up, and you're all locked up to go. So, which
Pretty
is
simple. I mean, it's about keeping it simple, right?
absolutely,
I mean,
absolutely.
this is a pulling machine. There's not a PTO on the back of this. This
No.
is hook it up and run.
Yes, and you know, it's farmer friendly.
As we continue our conversation around the Big Bud, one thing you notice, and I saw that train going down the road, tractor, trailer with 4 tires, 4 more tires, truck to put the tires on the machine. But the tires are there's a story behind these tires on this tractor today.
Yep. This tractor had tires that were built in 1977. The original tires were built in 1977 by a company called United Tire and Rubber from Canada.
Oh,
Canada.
yeah, okay.
And they built the tires specifically for Big Bud and for this tractor. Well, they only built one of these tractors, so they only built 8 tires. The tires were 77 years old. It made its way through the United States, came back up, ended up in Clarion, Iowa,
Right.
where the Heritage Museum is. There, they were trying to get it back into the field. They were trying to bring it kind of back to life, and they saw that one of the tires were actually rotted. It literally just dry rotted. You know, 40-some-year-old tractor. So they contacted Paul from Janesville Tire and had him come down and look at it, see if they could do a repair on it,
Right.
to get it back, just to patch it to get it back going again. And Paul said, "Now it's just too far gone." So then that's where we got involved, where Paul actually called me and said, "Hey, you ever hear of Big Bud 747?" I go, "Well, yeah, who hasn't?" And he says, "The Williams brothers are looking, the tires are rotted out, and wondering what we can do to maybe help get this thing going again." So it's like, oh, that's kind of an interesting project. And the more I got to think about it, so what these are, this is actually the 1400 30R46. This is the largest ag tire in the world. And you got to think, well, what if we had the largest ag tire on the largest ag tractor?
Yeah.
And that's how it kind of got going. And through help of our dealer, Twin Valley in Millbank, and then Janesville Tire, we rounded up and we were able to put together this package of 8 LSW 1400 30R46 tires.
With rims, the whole
with rims.
package, yeah.
Yep. And so we had the assemblies, and obviously we've been promoting this tire for a number of years. So
Yes.
1400 is not anything new, but on this tractor, it's pretty unique, and dualed up, it's extremely unique. And we went to Gold Wheel in St. Ansgar, Iowa.
Oh, yes.
And they actually took our existing wheels that we had for, let's say a Case or a John Deere.
Right.
And they modified those rims and those wheels to be able to bolt onto this tractor.
Because there's some issues with the hubs on this.
Right,
to hook
the
up.
planetary. There's 50 studs to bolt that inner wheel onto that planetary, 50 of them. And then there's 48 more studs to bolt the spacer and the outer wheel. So there's 98 nuts or studs and lugs
On
a corner
each corner.
You almost felt sorry for this tractor because it had been out running and the biggest, baddest, and it's just been parked in the shed.
Yeah.
And we backed it out into the sun and we started getting those tires on there, and it just seemed like the paint scheme just brightened up on it. It was really a great project, and it helps get this tractor back out in the field.
This is a working machine. This machine's working in California. It's working in Florida.
Yep.
And I'm guessing, having some time with Robert and Randy, it's worked its keister off in Montana for a while too.
And it's going to go back, and they're going to get it back in the field. They got that 80-foot or a Colivare they're going to be yanking around that hasn't been yanked around. that cultivator's 30,000 pounds itself.
I
to,
know,
to drag
I can
around
imagine,
in a field.
yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be exciting to see it get back out in the field and get the tires dirty and just see how it runs.